Hello and welcome to the Smart Women in Business vlog and podcast. Today I am talking to Natalie DeBon-Govic, online business manager at Toluca Solutions. Natalie works with a range of businesses including leadership coaches, business coaches, consultants, small businesses and startups to help them grow their business so they can spend more time doing what they love. Welcome, Natalie. Yay!
Hi.
Hi. Natalie and I have just been chatting off air like we've known each other for 15 years, which we feel we do, but that's called Instagram friends for you. So tell me about your business journey. You've just had a beautiful rebrand. So
I have.
Right.
It's you just don't envisage, well, I certainly didn't envisage where it was going to go from when I first sort of had the idea. I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mum, and I I had a long career in sales and marketing, which I absolutely loved. But when I had kids, I was a bit older, and I thought, it'd be great to be able to do something smallish around the kids. And I thought, well, I'm good at typing. This was 15 years
Good
ago.
at typing.
I'm good at typing. Maybe I'll just do something like that. So my business started off as I'll Type for You, and but it sort of got put on the back burner for a little while. It didn't start as quick as I thought it would. And then when I had my second child, I was offered a redundancy. And I was like, this is it. This is my opportunity. So I went, yep, taking it, doing it. And thankfully I had an amazing colleague who referred me to their company, and I was able to start my business from there. And I can't tell you how much it's changed, developed, grown since then. It's just amazing. And, from someone who was just doing typing and data entry to now producing podcasts and being integral parts of people's business and all that sort of, I just love it now. It's just amazing.
And it's becoming more and more as we've all moved digital this year. People are saying, I don't need someone in my office with me. I can have conversations like this very easily, brief them, get everything done. And I think one of the big things that holds people back from scaling is not outsourcing. So how long have you been in business?
Nearly 8 years.
Wow, congrats. That's exciting.
Thank you. Yeah.
So it's a really big evolution, I think, for people now to go digital. So what do you think? This is going completely off topic, but what do you think are the big signs for people in the work that you do that it's time to start outsourcing? And I know I've heard it, do it sooner rather than later.
Yeah. I think the overwhelm, I think that's really getting to people now, particularly this year. There's been so much other stuff going on.
A little bit.
And, everybody, as they say, has been in this same storm, but we are all in different boats, and our coping mechanisms are all very different. And I think I've found this year that a lot of people are trying to prioritize differently. So if they're not doing what they love, they just won't do it anymore. I mean, I'm the same, don't get me wrong. If I don't like doing something now, or I'm not good at it, there's no point me doing it. And I think that's the biggest shift that I've seen, is that people are more willing to not waste time. Because it's never been more clear that it's so precious, and we just don't know what's around the corner, obviously. So I think it's time. They want to do what they're loving and not waste their time on things that they're either not good at or don't want to do.
That's become really patently clear in my own business. I'm like, right, that's it.
Yeah.
Everything's off. Everything's going.
Yeah.
I'm rationalizing now between the end of the year, and anything I don't want to do or I waste time on is going to be outsourced. And it's just...
Well, and I think, it's all about priorities too. We want to be spending more time with our families, and especially now that, I know it's been tough for you guys regionally as well, but in Melbourne, we're finally allowed out.
Yeah, we've not had it nearly as hard as you guys.
Yeah, you have. And it's just, it's just nice to be able to get out.
Yes.
And, you don't want to be stuck working.
No, which is what I found when we were homeschooling and we were all home and in full lockdown. I was just working because I usually cut off at 2:30, go and collect the kids, come home, take them to the park or go to the shops or do whatever, and then come home and do a workout. And that was my routine. And then everything's just been thrown out of kilter this year. And then you go, okay, now I have to make time to do that stuff. And what you choose to do with your time, and it's about having that choice.
Yeah, choice is huge, I think, now. And I think if you choose to, you can let stuff go, then that's great.
Yeah.
That's good for me because, you know, and everyone says, oh, you kind of do the crappy jobs. I'm like, I don't know about that. They might be crappy to you.
To you.
I love it.
It's like people go, oh my God, I hate marketing. I'll go, oh, really? Oh, it's really fun. And you can do this. And they go, no, really, I hate it. Okay.
Me, I'm kind of like, I just don't understand it. So if I don't understand it, I just don't like it.
No, make it stop.
Yeah.
We don't need to be good at everything in our business.
No.
That's, I think, is one of the really key.
And that is probably the biggest realization for business owners, is that we don't have to be good at everything, and there is help available for you should you need it.
And we don't, because I think we bootstrap as we go in when we start a business, and we just start and we do everything. We do the bookkeeping, we do the social media management, and then people get to a point and go, oh, I don't actually need to be doing this anymore.
No.
And that's a big realization, and that's a big part of being able to scale.
Absolutely. And I think that once people realize it's taking them away from actually growing their business and making money in their business, because, you know, I know that me scheduling social media is not making money in my business. Like, you know, and I think when people realize that and they can get back to doing what they love and what they're good at, they're much happier.
And much more productive
And profitable.
Yes, the golden word. So obviously you said you were made redundant at one point. Your business has changed a lot over the last 8 years. So what were those signs, apart from having children, which is a big one for a lot of us, that it was time to evolve and change your business?
I think probably the first one was I lost quite a big client. So that was my sort of first move away from I'll type for you, because it was too narrow. And people just thought I did typing, and that kind of became redundant anyway, because everyone can type pretty much now, and they can bang out emails really quickly and all that sort of stuff. So that was probably the first change. But the next change was actually me gaining a client earlier this year and looking at all the diversity that she had me doing, and I'm like, I can do this. This is amazing, you know. So, and that's when I went out more into podcast production and that sort of thing, because that's just, you know, and being in people's businesses, you know, and working out that there are strategies and all that sort of thing, rather than just being the reactive EA type of work. So yeah, they were more the signs, and I think with EAs you need to be on all the time, whereas with this is much more specialized project work, and that's what I'm good at. And that's
looking at the strategy and then working from there.
Yeah, and the projects that clients have, and that sort of thing. So that's what I really love. So they were kind of the signs, and I went, yeah, no, I do need to move more into this side of business. So yeah.
Do you think, I see with a lot of the clients I work with, is that having the triggers to change is part of the acknowledgement of growth as well?
Yeah.
Because as we evolve as business owners and we grow, we realize that we are free to make, keep coming back to choice. We are free to make that choice, that
yes,
you can choose what you want to do with your time.
And that's the thing. And it is all about choice. And I think, and again, it's about, you know, looking at where you excel and where you're not so great. And, you know, am I great at being an EA anymore? Probably not. But that's because I've grown, my business has grown, my skill set has grown. You know, 8 years ago, none of this stuff was available digitally. None of it.
That wasn't so weird.
It was so weird. And so now it's just been that evolution. And I think, yeah, just improving yourself, and then you just find different areas to branch off into in business. And that's probably why I've changed the most. That's what's probably changed my business the most.
And working out what's fun.
Yeah, that's right. Like, there's no point doing what you hate.
No, absolutely no point, people.
No.
Outsource it. Yes. So you obviously have kids. You mentioned your kids. So how do you manage your life as an entrepreneur with the many, many demands that we have?
And there are so many, right? So
many.
Yeah, and I've got really sporty kids, so, you know, there's sports every day of the week. My husband's awesome, so thanks to him, we sort of share a lot of the load. But, you know, working hours and being really stringent around those. So if I know I've got a lot on, I'll get up at 6 and I'll start at 6. And then once drop off is done, it's sort of between 9 and 3 is just
flat out.
Focus. Yeah. And then look, sometimes there's things that I do need to do afterwards, but you know, there's often times I'll sit in the car at training and tap away or
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. I've spent so many hours at the pool with my iPad.
Right. So exactly. So you just do what you need to do, but you have that flexibility to be able to do that. And that's what I think I find I'm fortunate and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Because and hence why I did have to move my business away from being an EA and being on all the time, which just didn't suit my lifestyle anymore. When I had little, it was fine when they were, you know, an hour or two at kinder, but the rest of the time you were home, it was okay.
Yeah.
But now that everyone's growing and changing, it's so. But that's how I manage it. I don't know how.
Well,
some days it works. Let me tell you, some days are not so great.
Some days we drop every ball. I've just given up, and I'm like, every day that tuck shop is available, you're having it for the rest of the year.
Totally. Totally. Well, our tuck shop's closed, so.
Oh, we've got 2 days a week. We're back, but they only take cash. I'm like, anyway.
Oh,
you just see me counting out my 5-cent pieces this morning. They've been sitting around since 1995. It's all right because it took me less time than making lunches. It's interesting because you talk about like it's a real privilege to be able to have your own business.
Yeah.
And I think that like being able to go to assemblies, and they call them fellowships at my school, and being able to go, you know what, I'm going to go and I'm not going to start work till 10. But then we do have that flexibility of, I've been known to get up at 5 and work through till 11 o'clock at night when things are really full on.
Yeah.
But then other days I'm like, 10 till 2, that's fine. I'm going to go off and meditate or go for a run.
Good on you.
Yeah, it doesn't work very well for me running. But yeah, having that flexibility is such a gift. And I think that if we can help more women achieve that, we'll all be a lot happier, because I don't know how people manage school holidays, because it's not something I've ever had to manage around a job. Like, that would be a nightmare.
Yeah. And that's true. Like, you know, I never had to worry about school holidays, I suppose, because I started my business before my eldest went to school. But when I was working full time, my mum had my kids.
Yeah. Or childcare.
So I was very fortunate, but my mum's aging now. She doesn't want to be having kids, you know, little kids during school. I mean, she's amazing, don't get me wrong. Like, she has them all the time, but they don't want to spend all their time with kids. They deserve to be out going on their holidays.
Doing their fun stuff.
They do.
Playing mahjong in my mother's case.
What?
When they're allowed.
Yeah, well, you know, and my mum often goes, you know, away, and that's great for them. They don't want to be tied down to kids. So it's amazing how it gives us the power back to be able to do what we need to do. And I'm incredibly grateful for that.
Me too. My mum was meant to go on a cruise yesterday.
Oh, no.
I know. Sad face. So what does an amazing, great, fabulous day in the office look like for you? What's your favourite things to do?
My favourite things, excuse me, podcast. I love podcasts. So I don't do any of the video editing or audio editing. We have an editor that we use. But I love, you know, the organisation of it. If I've got to organise something, I'm in my element. So...
You're like the opposite of me.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, for one client, I actually did quite a few Zoom meetings where I would produce the webinar. So monitor chat and, you know, taking all the screenshots, and that, I love it. Absolutely love it.
Oh, I'll remember that.
Yeah, it's great. It's just, but that's what I love to do. I love being involved in that sort of side of things. Anything that has a process. Yeah. You know, but having said that, being with people too, I absolutely love it.
Oh, don't we miss that this year?
Oh, it's so funny because last year, at the end of last year, December, I think it was, I decided, yep, that's it. I'm going to go and do hot desking because I need to be with people. That lasted 5 minutes.
Here we are in 2020. I haven't seen another human.
But yeah, so that's what an ideal day looks like for me. Just organising and talking to people and, you know, just being really part of their business. I love the investment that I get out of it, you know, to feel part of something bigger.
Yeah. And that's what it's I mean, we do sort of similar. We pop into people's businesses, we do something and then we pop out again, but you're always part of them.
Yeah.
I'm always getting I'm just letting you know this has happened, or, you know, my website's done this, or my branding's helped me do this. And it's just such a great feeling, but it's so different to having an actual job.
Oh, totally.
Because you're working with, I don't know, however many clients at once, 8, 10, 12 clients at the same time. And I'm learning about, at the moment, trademark law, and you're probably the same. You're learning about all these different industries all the time.
Oh, all the time. And that's what I love. And even some of my longer term clients that I'm not in and out of, you know, you do get that real connection and that real feeling of belonging, I suppose. Even though you're not in a job in a big company or even a small company where you're with people all the time, you still have that, there's still that connection. And, you know, I really thrive on connection.
Yeah.
But, and I know a lot of people don't. So that's why I found it initially difficult working from home once the kids were at school, because I was like, oh,
I'm so lonely.
I'm lonely, need to get out.
I'm actually a total introvert, so it works really well.
Yeah, well, that's it. But now I'm starting to learn the balance of that too. So
yeah, it's I realized how much I love being alone when the kids were homeschooling, and I'm just like,
yes,
wow, didn't realize how much I valued silence. Peace.
Like, well, but what happened for me though, after they went back, I had to turn the TV on in the other room so I could just have some noise.
I had my husband here with the world's noisiest keyboard. I keep talking
about
the keyboard.
Right. Yeah, my husband was home for a bit too. He's not now.
No, mine's gone back, because being an architect and working at a home office, they don't go very well together.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's no samples. There's no, like, drawing boardy things that they
need. It would be very frustrating.
It was for him. But anyway, he's gone now. So so process human. I love hearing from process driven humans, because I'm not a process driven human. I'm a very chaotic human, but at the same time quite ordered. But anyway, what are your favorite tools to use in your business? Because everyone has a different tech stack, I've realized.
Yeah, I suppose my favorite tools, my laptop, obviously. Like, it gives, but having said that, it just gives me the flexibility to be anywhere when I'm working. Anything that can schedule, absolutely love it. So whether it's Calendly or Buffer or Hoot, so anything that I can schedule things and know that everything is in its place, has order, and I'm not chasing my own tail. They're probably anything that's automated that can make life easier. They're my go-to. Automation
has changed our lives.
Absolutely, it has. You know, you look at a tool like ActiveCampaign even.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, that it makes automation easy. Like, it used to be like you'd have to sit there. It was like figuring out a puzzle, and you're like, oh, if I do this,
the if thens and that.
Oh, and then if this happens and that, I'm like, oh no,
breaks my brain.
The ActiveCampaign and things like that just changed it totally.
They completely. They made it really accessible, and that's what I found working in web. So I've been working in web sites since whenever I got my master's, I think early 2000s. Right. And that was back when we had to do full HTML, and people stuck with that for such a long time. They made it, you can't access your website because you might break it. And now I'm like completely fighting against that constantly. Yeah, let me know what you want to change on your website. I'll do a video for you. And if you get stuck, you know, and that tech has evolved to a point where anyone can do it. Anyone can learn tech now.
And that's the thing. And I think that's what sort of drove people away a lot, because we always thought we were going to break stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of ingrained now. And you're like, oh, like,
what do you mean I can do it? And I had a text from a client this morning and said, can we talk to you about, I'm really scared I'm going to break it. I'm like, tell me what you want to do. I'll show you how to do it.
Yeah. And the same, like even with social media scheduling, for example, you know, people are nervous that if they don't put stuff in at this time, on this day, every single, you know, that's changed lives, that people can just do bulk.
Yeah.
Put it in and they can relax. Like, it's just that feeling. It's not going to break. The world's not going to end if I don't post something. You know, all scheduled. it just gives peace of mind. So I think that's why I love those tools, because I like to be able to give my clients peace of mind.
And go, it's just like, I have people go, I could do my social media myself, like you. I could do it myself, but it doesn't get done.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. I just want it done. And that's the difference between when you're first starting out in business and when you're then in a position to scale and go, just do it, please. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that can be a tricky place to get to.
It is hard, especially for us control freaks, because that delegation has power, but at the same time, you've got to let go that not everything's going to be done exactly how you would do it.
And spend as well. How much is it going to cost me?
Yeah.
And I find that's a massive barrier in terms of delegation.
And you've got to know, and that's about having, I always talk about the power of data and having the power of a predictable cash flow in a business, which doesn't come in the early days.
Nope.
Often, unless you have a really special business, but it takes many of us years and years and years to get to a point where it's predictable and you know that every month you're going to be drawing a salary.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
but I suppose, but my question to that though is, well, what's it going to cost you not to do it?
Exactly.
Not to outsource, because if you're spending X amount of hours on something at your hourly rate, what's mine, and it's going to take me a quarter of the time. So you're saving. It is a difficult.
It's a difficult thing for many people to map it out like that, because they go, oh, but it's going to cost me dollars, and it's like, well, the dollars you'll be making those
because you'll be working with a client.
You'll be working. Yeah, it's really tricky. Really tricky.
Tricky, but that's even when I'm now outsourcing. I'm like, how much is it costing me not to do this?
Yeah. That's where time audits are really good.
Yep.
Sitting down and going, okay, what do I spend fluffing around on social media? You don't have to schedule your own social media. You're not going on social media, and then you're not going down that rabbit hole. And it's an interesting thing to. Yeah, the rabbit hole Pinterest, man, when that first came out. Oof, hours.
I haven't gone down that one.
Oh, I've got a friend who does Pinterest really well, so I'm like.
Oh, really? Again, it's probably because I don't know it.
But do you need it?
I don't need it. No, and hence why I don't know it.
Yeah, but for some businesses, amazing.
Absolutely.
But that's on my list of outsourcing next year. I'm like, right, I'm going to give my Pinterest to my friend B, and she can do it, and I don't need to. Then I'm not on Pinterest going, ooh.
I know, it's great inspo.
Oh, it totally is. But I'm like, I might move to Bali. Yeah, I totally need a tropical living board. Anyway, one of the things, this is the question I always ask, one of the things that affects every entrepreneur I know is imposter syndrome. And so what are your methods that you to overcome this? How do you respond to your bad days in business? Because we all have them, despite what we show on Instagram.
Totally right. Wine. No.
Wine, day drinking. Oh, that was homeschool.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Moving on from that.
Let's never talk about it again.
Oh, look, that's a work in progress, I think. Imposter syndrome, it's very real. And some days it's worse than others. But if you do have a bad day, I kind of just try and take it for what it is, as a bad day, not a bad week, a bad month, bad year. Just take it for what it is. Look at what I've got to do tomorrow and refocus. In that sense, I just think, I'm doing what I'm doing for a reason. I've got beautiful clients for a reason. So, yes, it was a bad day. It happens, and let's try and just move on from it. And obviously my poor husband cops a little bit of it too.
Well, it's interesting because I think that when we are in it, especially when we're starting out, we don't realize that everyone experiences it. Well, I think 70% of people experience it.
Absolutely.
And you feel, am I the only one? It's a bit like being adolescent, isn't it? Am I the only one feeling this? You're not.
No. And that's amazing. And I think as you build your networks, I found networks incredibly important for me. And I sort of, when I was in sales, I loved my network. I could talk to anyone, but I found myself really isolated when I was working from home, and it was hard to build that up again. But I've made a really conscious effort to do that now, and it honestly pays off. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things with imposter syndrome is build a network.
Yeah, find the people, find your people.
Find your people. And you know, it's amazing what happens when you're chatting to people on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know, like you find some amazingly beautiful people and people that you've never met before, but for whatever reason
we grew up 5Ks away from each other.
Well, that's it. Like, you know, and there's this one lady on Instagram, Jules, who she's a makeup artist in Sydney, and I have no real reason to connect with her except that we do. I adore her and we just get along really well. It was just one of those things, so we can bounce off each other as well. Like, it's just, you know, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. I love it. And I love this people in Facebook groups and Instagram that you just...
Yes, Facebook groups are awesome.
Just chat.
Yes.
And it's especially, I mean, as a rural person, so I've been working by myself since out in the middle of nowhere since 2009, having come from Melbourne and corporate life. I was like, oh, where are all my people at? And now as socials evolved, I'm like, oh, it's all right. I still get to talk to people, and I still have people like random Zooms with people just to catch up, and it's really great.
It is amazing. So, and I think, so someone like you who's been doing random Zooms for probably quite a few years, I have too. We haven't had this much of a transition in terms of working from home, but for the poor people that are so zoomed out and, you know, through this last sort of 12 months, I feel for them.
Yeah, I really do, because I think there's an expectation that you're going to have to show up looking amazing, and whereas if you're just chatting with someone on Zoom as part of your community, and that's like leads me into always my next question, is that sense of community that we have as business owners, entrepreneurs, women, mums in business. Yeah. That's where that online community comes in handy to not feel that isolation, because motherhood in itself can be really isolating.
Shocking.
Terrible.
Yep. Yeah. Really, it can be if you know, and you know, and yeah, it just makes it hard, doesn't it? Like, it's hard enough without feeling isolated.
And it's interesting that digital comes into then to play. Like, if it was me 40 years ago out here having 2 kids, like, I don't know what I'd be doing.
Well, I suppose different time though, isn't it, really? Like, I suppose even when I look at, you know, starting a business 8 years ago, I don't think Zoom was even a thing back then. Everything was done by a phone. I don't even think we had, or FaceTime was very new. So we didn't really have that face.
We had video. No, we had email. Ding.
Email, absolutely.
I remember being so excited when I used to get emails.
I know. It was like, you'd hear that little ding in the background, like, oh, who wants to talk? And now it's just like, oh, for God's sake, please, I've got to turn that notification off.
I have a thing some days when I'm really under the pump. It's like, check emails first thing in the morning, lunch, last thing, that's it. No.
I have times now. I've dedicated times to email, to socials. That's like my scheduling, I suppose. And alarms go off all the time, but I need those alarms because then at least things get done. Yeah.
And I just think if people have come to expect that their email gets responded to really fast, and I don't know where that expectation came from, but it's like, guys, we need to stop this because people are really stressed.
So instantaneous. Like, I send it, you receive it.
Yeah.
So people expect that you're just sitting there waiting for an email.
I'm sitting here waiting for your email. Yeah. And I think productivity wise, dedicating time to check your emails is really important.
Absolutely. And even putting a little disclaimer at the bottom saying, you know, thanks for your email. It will be answered within X amount of time if I don't get back to you.
I have been tempted to do that lately. I might do it.
So it's a really good little, nicely worded one.
It's all right. Rather nicely worded, by the way, probably won't get back to you for 24 hours. Oh, we're all busy, and that's the reality of it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So what's your big why? What keeps you motivated in your beautiful business?
It has to be family. That would be my big why. You know, I as we talked about, it is an absolute privilege to have flexibility around your children, around your partner, and that sort of thing. So I absolutely, that's why I do what I do. But I think it's also a little bit about me as well, and my contribution as well, you know, not just to our financial story, but, you know, to the community and to the, you know, the wider world. You know, I like to think that I'm successful at what I do, and that, you know, that's a great feeling too. So I suppose it's a little bit of everything that, you know, that makes me motivated and to do what I do. And because I get to work with the most awesome people too. Like, I honestly can't say there's been too many clients where I've gone, oh.
I've only had a few.
Honestly, I haven't. In 8 years, there's probably, you couldn't count them on one hand.
No, me either.
You know, and these people are incredible, and you're learning about all these incredible businesses, and, you know, they expand your skill. I don't know. It's just, yeah, there's a lot of whys, I think.
Yeah. I think you and I are like support people.
Yes.
In businesses. And I like to see as we amplify the good work that our clients do.
Yes.
So they get to do more of what they do in their zone of genius because we're here doing that backup. Yeah,
because that's what we do.
Yeah. We're like, come on.
We're in our zones, you know, and it's a great feeling to be able to think that you've helped someone.
It is. It's amazing. And when you see something finish or a project done really successfully, and your client's like, oh my gosh, couldn't have done this without you, and you're like, wow.
I know, how good does that feel? And and I think that's when you kind of get, like, that's when your imposter syndrome sort of fades through. Remembering those times, you know.
Yeah. And I was talking to someone the other day, and it's part of what I teach is, like, keep an inventory of all the success stories. Because, like, it's like testimonials. If you're ever having a down day, just read all your testimonials. And you're
That's a great idea.
Go me. Yeah. And even if it's not something that you've received as a testimonial, it's having a document that has all that. Thank you, you've done a great job. Because it's so easy for us to forget the compliments and remember the faults. And
actually, it's interesting you say that. Right in front of me, I've got a pin board. And apart from photos, there's like thank you letters and, you know, that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
like notes that have been written. So I just pin them up, thank you cards and that sort of thing. So I keep them there as well. Just to, you know, it is a great reminder. You're right.
It's just
nice to be able to look at and
say we've done a good job, and that's all we're trying to do, you know. So
exactly. And grow, and you know, that's the other thing. I want to be able to grow my business to a point where I can have other women or mums working with me as well, you know. And I do have one at the minute, and it's just amazing, especially at this time, to be able to offer something to someone else.
At these unprecedented times,
and and tough times.
It's been really hard. I mean, the people that are really doing it tough, anyway, my heart breaks for them. So hard.
Awful.
It's awful on. So anyway, so apart from results inventory and making ourselves feel happy, what are your tips for all the smart women business across Australia and the world?
Be open to change. I think obviously if we've learnt nothing from this year, that things can change, but not always for the bad. You know, things can really change for the better. And, you know, sometimes what seems to be a really dire situation can just, you know, open another door. And I know it probably sounds a little bit corny, but that's honestly what I've kind of seen right through the last 8 years, is that it's something that comes across as not great.
Like being made redundant, which happened to both of us.
Exactly. Like at first I was just like, oh my God, there's my world gone.
Oh my God.
But I know, right? But, you know, and also though, once you've got your business, be open to it evolving. You know, like I said earlier, there is no way I saw my business 8 years ago being where I am today. If you had have told me, I would have laughed and gone, oh, you are ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, you know, you just don't know what's going to happen, and just being able to keep that open mindset, I think it keeps things exciting, and you're always looking for opportunity. So, yeah, be open to change and be open to evolution.
Perfect. I love it. So Gorgeous, Natalie. Where can people find out more about you and your work?
I have a website. It's www.tolucasolutions.com.au, and I'm also at Instagram as Toluca Solutions and Facebook. And I love an Instagram chat, so please reach out.
Love an Instagram chat. That's how Natalie and I know each other, because we keep stalking each other's stories. I will put all your links in the show notes so people will be able to find out more about you. And this goes on YouTube, and I'll share on Instagram and everything, and tag you. Thank you so much for your time. It was gorgeous to speak to you.
Oh, it's been amazing. Thank you so much.
And I'll share this soon.
Great, thanks.